Back in the ring, we have Kent Batman, the Hardin County GOP chair, Jeff Lewis, and Richard Rosario, a progressive activist. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Good to be
Thanks
here.
for coming in. Syria, you have to admit, maybe through back channels, but the president has been successful in getting chemical weapons out of the hands of the Syrian government.
Well, it's not out of the hands, and if it happens, I think you'd have to give credit to Vladimir Putin, wouldn't you?
All right, what do you think about this matter of the San Antonio anti-discrimination ordinance? An ordinance that says it will be a Class C misdemeanor if you are found to have purported a bias against same-sex couples, against people who are married of the same sex. If there is a bias, in fact, against homosexuality, if that bias can be proven, you are guilty of a Class C misdemeanor.
Define bias, and really there's 2 points on this. First of all, I mean, if you define bias, okay, what's bias? Okay, I am personally against same-sex marriage. Does that make me biased? Okay, in their views, yes, because I'm a Christian and I have beliefs that say that's a sin. Okay, well, apparently in today's point of view, okay, that's an unbelievable foul to actually have a Christian view. So
is that an intolerant viewpoint to oppose homosexuality?
It never has been, but free speech was never intolerant either until recently. Free speech now is moderated by, is it politically correct?
Correct, and that brings the second point. At what point have we reached a place where we're now thought police? Okay, I mean, I hire people for a living, right? That's not a question I ask in an interview. This is not a question of your,
It never comes up.
It's none of my business, quite frankly, what you do in your free time as far as, where you should work here or not. So when it comes to hiring practices, this is a red herring. What it's about, Kevin, is what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of find some wedge issue that's going to make it stick in Texas because the Democrats are running scared. They're throwing up these Democratic champions in the media like Wendy Davis and the mayor of San Antonio. Okay, all these are supposed to be the new Democratic Party in Texas, quite frankly. Folks, this doesn't reflect your views. You know this. I mean,
is this
we need to move
effort
on
by the people of San Antonio, or at least the lawmakers of San Antonio, the city council? Is this an effort by San Antonio to say, look, discrimination has gone on long enough, and it's time to turn the corner? And if so, as these gentlemen are putting forth, is that in fact in turn discriminatory against people who might have views otherwise? What say you on the matter of the San Antonio ordinance?
Well, like you said, I'm also a Christian. I'm a Catholic. Gay marriage is banned by the Catholic Church. However, discrimination against homosexuals is also banned against by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
In the workplace, it might not come up, but if you're somewhat flamboyant, if you dress differently than most people, then you're going to know that person is a homosexual. So it would just sort of depend on that person. That's how you would be biased, and it wouldn't necessarily be biased against people who don't accept it.
Okay, let me ask you this, because we've covered the ground of the House vote, defunding Obamacare on one hand, but also keeping the government open. How do you oppose the Republicans on an issue that allows the government to avert a shutdown? As we all worried, the government might be shut down, but the Republicans have come up with a plan to keep the government from being shut down. But you don't like it, or you do like it?
I don't want the government to shut down.
Yeah.
Obamacare, I will admit, as a Democrat, there are some things that can be changed about it. I think they could be changed in a better way that won't necessarily cause a government shutdown. I think a government shutdown would be a bit too extreme in order to defund Obamacare. Because one thing is, if you want to defund Obamacare, you need to have another bill in hand that's going to do whatever you want it to do. Okay. So if you're worried about your premiums, if you're worried about this and that, then you need to have that fixed before you defund something else.
Okay, but what
this
do you
seems
want
like,
changed?
There was a bill.
Congressman Steve Stockman had a proposal that did exactly this, and it's been passed now 230 to 189 by the U.S. House of Representatives. What's wrong with this plan?
I don't think there's anything wrong with this plan. It's a proposal. It'll go up to the Senate. By the way, it did have a bill in there with the Republican proposal on how to mend things. Most people think that the president thinks much of Obamacare should be delayed for a year. So basically, you could say, well, let's delay this and work on the issues if there's issues to
Well, the
be worked
government
on.
has in fact delayed some of, its business mandate, for example.
Obama did.
Yeah, in fact, he
Obama
did it himself. He didn't even do it constitutionally. He just arbitrarily
So
did
if
it.
we're going to delay it, let's delay all of it, look at it, find the things that are wrong, and go on next time.
Is there a way legislatively for them to do to pass something? Maybe even the Senate would approve that. Do you think the U.S. Senate, which seems prepared to immediately say no to what the House voted on this Friday, do you think it's plausible the U.S. Senate could go along with some kind of bill that at least would delay Obamacare, not fund it right now, come back and decide more on it later? Do you think it's possible in the Senate?
I think there's going to be some discussions, some possibly backroom discussions, but there will be some negotiations. It happened back in 95, 96. And good things came out of that. We had 6 years of balanced budgets after the government shutdown, which, by the way, was 28 days. It wasn't just a short one.
Yeah, right.
I'll actually disagree.
Final word, sir.
I don't think that the Senate is going to give the Republicans a way out, and I don't think they're going to give them the victory, and here's why. I think when it comes down to our general strategy, I think the Republicans have been drawn into a trap of
Gotta run,
everything
gotta
we
run,
do
gotta
is
run.
criticizing Obama. And I think the
Back
mistake
on
is we need
Southeast
something
Texas
better.
Weekly next time around. Sorry to cut you off. Out of time. See you next time.
Southeast Texas Weekly, brought to you by the Modern Vein Surgery Institute at Privity Clinic for Surgical Care.